Hey, what's going on? Nick Unsworth here, and welcome to a fresh new episode of Life on Fire TV. And I am extra fired up because in this episode, we are driving to meet one of the mentors that has been a mentor of mine for years, for about 4 years or so. He is one of the most sought-after internet marketers in the industry. He's a best-selling author. He's the creator of Traffic Geyser and a whole bunch of software that helps entrepreneurs leverage and scale and how to get videos ranked and how to market videos online and also how to build up customer relationships, text message marketing, all kinds of cool stuff. So this guy popped into one of our masterminds in January, and literally in an hour he just did Q&A and the whole room lit up. It was just unbelievable. So he's got tons to share, tons of value, and we're gonna rock this thing out. So stay tuned. We are on our way to Mike Koenigs' office right here in San Diego, and we're gonna rock up this interview, and you guys are gonna get tons of crazy nuggets from this one. So stay tuned. Hey, what's going on? Nick Unsworth here, and I'm a kick-ass business coach, and I'm on an absolute mission to help you find your purpose in life, to help you love what you do for work every single day, to help you be the rock star that you are meant to be, to make more money than you ever thought was possible, and to have more time freedom so you can actually enjoy the life that you're living. I'm here to help you set your life on fire. All right. So I hear he has an absolutely ridiculous studio, so follow me. Let's go take a look. The software. No soliciting. We're gonna do a lot of soliciting on this one. How big is that? Hello.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on?
Good.
It's like I haven't seen you forever.
Yes, it's a couple days.
Right?
All right.
So cool, man. So I'm excited to have you on the show here today.
Yeah,
and we're going to give these guys a rocking episode of Life on Fire TV. So
Life on Fire it is.
Life on Fire it is. So I wanted to see if you can give us a tour of the office and see the new digs. And you just moved in here, right?
We did, less than a month ago.
Less than a month.
It was insane. We moved from the Old Town location, which was really cool, but now we've got a much better view. You know, it's a distant ocean view, but it is nice to see the
poking out over there.
But it's part of it's just super central. It's easy for clients, customers to come, and we've got high level meetings that are going on, and also you'll see the studio. I wanted to be able to have as many sets as possible and have it all consolidated, so we can put on great shows.
Sweet. All right. Well, I'd love to see it. So, but what's going on in here? So is this your headquarters here? This is
my
the
office.
Magic happens right here?
It is. So what I've got, and we've got this whole philosophy of what we call You Everywhere Now.
Okay.
So the whole idea of by understanding a couple basic principles, you can create content very, very quickly and be broadcast to the entire human race. 73% of the human race is engaged with social media right now. So if you can be seen, heard, and read on every smartphone, tablet, desktop, laptop, now you can be in every car and almost on every television, because almost 300 million televisions are internet-connected TVs.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
So you can do that with a click of a button, and you can do live events. So this is basically a television studio in a box.
Okay.
And I'm actually just building it. That's why it's kind of a mess right now, because I've actually been gathering all the gear. But you can see here with camera, so if you look inside, you can look at these little monitors here. I can switch live. So this is camera 1, that's the one in front of me. I can switch to camera 2. Let me bring up my little switcher here. And if I switch to 2, that's you and Eric shooting away. All right. I can switch to camera 3, which is the whiteboard. Okay. And then I can also switch to the computer, and I have control over my slides. So I can actually go through and do a presentation. But what's awesome is with YouTube Live now, we can broadcast. Google actually says you can broadcast to tens of millions of people simultaneously for free
on their platform.
So on their platform, and right out of here, I literally can press a button, and we can be broadcasting live to most of the human race, and we can be watched and heard and listened to on smartphones and tablets and desktop and laptop computers and televisions. It blows my mind.
That's crazy.
So anyone can get out there and get their message heard and seen.
And so, and that, I mean, and you used to use what, live stream?
Live stream, yeah.
And so now you're saving...
back in the old days when we started, Ustream
Yeah.
and Livestream cost us $16,000 to do a single event. Now it's
Wow.
totally free.
That's crazy.
So that's part of why I'm so excited about
Okay.
this. And we can perform a live show. Like you could create your podcast,
Yeah.
and we could theoretically
Yeah.
broadcast this thing live to your entire audience, be interactive,
Yeah.
and then clip it, pop it in your podcast feed. Now you got a podcast. We could transcribe it, turn
Yeah.
it into a book. So
Yeah.
now it can be, and you can convert it into an audio podcast, so you can
Sure.
be seen, heard, listened to, viewed. And this is something else that blows my mind is 96 million Americans drive to and from work each day.
Yeah.
An average of 26 miles each way, right?
Yeah.
That's an hour. They can be listening to you
Yeah.
and being infected by your message.
Exactly.
On fire.
On fire. That's crazy. What I love about what you do, and I think what's going to be awesome just about this episode is the you everywhere now. I mean, we're dabbling with it with Life on Fire TV with video that goes to YouTube,
Yeah, you're doing a great
to the
job.
podcast, which is cool. But I'm super excited for you to share with everybody how you take that same content and pump it out to a best-selling book.
Oh yeah.
Into all kinds of different things. So
Well, that's
so cool.
It's so easy. It's
Yeah.
crazy, and that's here. I'll show you one other thing. So I'm actually running all this through an Apple TV.
Okay.
And so I can go over here down to podcasts, and I have to check and see if I have subscribed to your podcast on my TV yet. But I mean, what I should do is bring it up if I haven't already.
Yeah.
I've got it on my phone. But I can search here. But what's cool is every single thing we create
yeah.
instantly can be on every TV. You can
Totally.
be broadcast. It's mind blowing. So I won't take any more
Crazy
time. But it's
opportunity.
awesome. Yeah.
And so
Great time to be alive.
And so for someone that's just getting started, I mean, this is obviously the pro setup, but like for someone that's getting started, I mean, couldn't you theoretically just use a web camera and
Yeah.
and the same
Here it is.
YouTube technology? What's that one?
This one is a Logitech C930E. Okay, this thing costs about $100. And I still use it for tons of stuff. It looks great. It's fine for doing live casts.
Okay.
So even just your built-in camera in your laptop is
Yeah.
enough.
Okay.
So my last book that I created and wrote, well, I'll tell you the other gear thing. So this is one more piece of gear. For a microphone, this is the microphone I recommend right now. It's a Nessie from Blue. These cost about $70 on Amazon. And it has a pop filter built in. It's got something called compression and noise reduction. And one of the things that's really cool is if you're doing let's say you're doing a live cast or you're doing a podcast, you can press this button and it glows. So it's actually muted now, and then you touch it again. So if you have to cough or something,
Sweet.
it's just like back in the old days, not that long ago, but a broadcast microphone would cost you $1,000.
Yeah.
Now for $70, you get something that sounds great.
You're
And
in
again,
business.
with a Macintosh or PC, your
Yeah.
webcam, it's good enough. Okay, you can get by with. I mean, theoretically, you could do this with a Chromebook for $200. Start a TV show.
Yeah.
Online.
That's
you could.
It's a crazy opportunity. Everyone can take that passion, that gift that they have, the message they want to teach, and get out to the world. I think and that's what this episode's going to highlight.
Yeah.
Being everywhere and how you make it easy. That's what I love about you. Is that
thank you.
how you make it easy, bringing it to books, bringing it to life online. So it's gonna be good. So
Right.
what about what else we got in the office
Oh,
here?
show you the big studio. This is awesome. And then I'll demonstrate some stuff too.
Sweet.
Oh, if you hadn't seen this, this is a little passion of mine. So a few years ago, I built a 3D printer, and the first one's sitting right down here. My son and I made it. It's called a MakerBot, and this thing basically prints in 3D. You can like print a chess set if you wanted to, but pretty soon parts like if you lost a knob for your car, your phone, or a computer or something, you can literally download a little 3D file, press a button, it'll print out. This one is a taller one. It actually can print about this tall, and they use these for prototyping car parts and stuff like that. This is a huge business. Very soon, they started doing it in China just a couple months ago. They're printing houses with concrete. So they're making bigger ones, and it's basically like a hot glue gun.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm a total geek. I buy everything, and I make a lot of stuff. And my son
what
likes
can you
geeky
make with
stuff.
this? Or what's an example of something that you
I don't have anything here because the bed broke, and I just moved the office. So I don't have anything left. But chess pieces,
Really?
toys.
That's
you can make like
crazy.
an iPhone case. There are people who are printing entire bicycles.
Really?
Yes, I'm
That's
not
crazy.
kidding you. So
So
it's
you just
revolutionizing
need the-
manufacturing.
So that's crazy. So you just need like the program, and then it'll.
Yeah, actually, in this one you can. This one's set up. You can just plug in a little chip.
Okay.
Put a model on it. You just download a 3D file for free.
Yeah.
Pop it in there. Press a button, and it starts printing it.
That's great. And
Three
how? Like,
dimensions.
over what period of time?
It might take like an hour or two to build like a chess piece. It's not fast, but the new ones that are coming out
That's crazy.
print with epoxy and all kinds of
Okay.
fancy materials. They're going to have 3D ones or metal ones very soon.
That's crazy.
It's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Love
it's a
it.
great time to be alive.
All right.
So, all right, on with the Geek Fest here. So, I guess we could probably do the big pan, but we've got a whole bunch of sets, and we could maybe start with we call it Jesse's Corner over here.
Okay.
This is the living room set. So, if we wanted to create a show, and it might be you and me, just like this, we could sit down.
Couple of gentlemen with a cocktail, maybe.
It could
you
be
know what I
a
mean?
gentlemanly show. It
Couple
could be.
entrepreneurs drinking scotch. It's an
can do
idea
that.
that Dumas and I have.
Yeah, I saw that.
Swirling some.
That's really good. I love scotch. Gotta avoid it for about 5 more years till I'm done with the whole cancer thing.
Oh,
that
okay.
was
Yep.
that was the big
We'll
rub.
have a big celebration.
I will be very ready. Trust me, I'll be ready. So here, we actually built this because I wanted something that was a softer set, and I do a lot of work with Pam Hendrickson,
Okay.
and she'd come in and we have a lot of hard edges, a lot of masculine stuff going on. We wanted something that just felt softer, and also it serves as a green room when we're doing shows.
Oh yeah.
So people can sit, they can watch the rest of the program, and really enjoy themselves.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Sweet. All
So
right.
we'll call this set number 1.
Set number 1.
Now, set number 2, we got wardrobe in the way, and it's not lit right now. This is, we can kind of do an urban shot, and this is very flexible. We got a plant here, but we could shine something called a gobo light if we wanted, which would like project the logo. So if you had your Life on Fire logo, you got that cool flame.
Yeah.
You could project that against the brick wall, and when it's lit, it looks awesome.
That's sweet. Okay.
And we just print out a foam core sign, hang it if we want to, or bring in one of our rolling monitors.
Okay.
Put it up here. I'll show you some of those in a second. But all that is just,
Sweet.
And this is an important lesson about when you're building sets and you want to do a show. I've taught people for a long time, you can go to IKEA. Like that whole set there only costs maybe a couple grand, but you can get a screen. I'll show you something called a shoji screen.
Okay.
And a little table and chairs and a monitor for $400, and you'll have something that looks as good enough like you look like you're on TV.
And that right there, it's so key. It's like I remember, when I first got rolling, my first YouTube video was I painted my dining room wall blue.
Yes.
And then my girlfriend at the time, she painted. She's an artist, and she painted these little buttons that look like the Facebook icon, the Twitter one.
Yeah.
And people thought I had this legit studio. And meanwhile, it's my dumpy 2-family spot that we had in our living room. But I got to tell you, that perception was crazy. So for someone getting started, so what was it that you mentioned? What was the resource?
I'll go over to the little
cool.
set over here.
Okay.
I'll show you one of the sets. So,
Cool.
this is super simple, but you can get these things. They're called shoji screens, and this is a really
Reminds
easy
me of
thing.
a dojo.
It is, exactly.
yeah.
It's a Japanese room divider. That's just because over there you got little tiny rooms, so
Yeah.
you create the illusion. And again, this is an important lesson because back in our old studio, it wasn't as big as this one. This one isn't huge, but it's more flexible. People would walk in, they go, "It's so small. I thought it was giant. I thought it was a real diner." When we get to the digital cafe set, and it's like, the only thing that matters is what the lens can see, okay? Off that doesn't matter, and it's only what's on front. So when you go into Hollywood and you go through a studio tour, you're like, well, it's just plaster of Paris and 2x4s.
Yeah,
It's
you're like, what the
that's
heck?
all you need. You don't need anything.
Yeah, I think it's a whole city.
Yeah. So an IKEA desk, an IKEA chair, a couple $100 worth of lights, and you're in business.
Yeah, and it's like I see when someone's on Skype or that they do a Google Hangout on their computer and their background's all kind of jacked up. It's like that one little touch can bring the professionalism behind even just a webcam shot or a Google Hangout.
I'll show you one of the biggest things that drives me nuts and a $50 solution to overcome that.
Okay.
So we'll do that when we get to the big set.
Sweet.
All right, so over here, the next set, this is the chroma key. Now we've got a couple of different ones of these. The one I have set up right now is used because we do like what's known as a medium shot, so like waist up, and that way we can replace this with anything.
Sweet.
And one of that makes it super flexible. You can create virtual sets, anything you want. and you can get by with no monitor if you want to spend a little more time editing.
Okay. And with what you've got going on now, this is what you used for the
launch videos and a lot of training stuff.
Okay.
So basically, for someone who's just starting out and they want to know, like, well, how does lighting work?
Yeah.
There's only a couple things you need to know. Like up here, we have something called a hair light. So if I'm standing here, that's glowing to create a halo effect. These two lights on the side will light the background. Okay. So it needs to be evenly lit to do the chroma key green, so you can knock it out. And then we don't have them on, but these two lights here, usually we have a fill light and a key light. So if this is on, that's filling the area. And these are just little Velcro tabby things they pull down. A set of these lights you can get for as cheap as about $150 to $300. That can produce professional quality results. And they're called softbox lights. So you can get those on Amazon. I buy most of my stuff on Amazon because that way I don't have any shipping.
Yeah.
You have the old Amazon Prime.
The good old Prime. So maybe when we're off camera, could I grab a list of just a couple of these resources? We'll put it in the show notes for you guys.
Yeah.
So it'll be everything from the the Logitech camera to the what's it called?
We have the video
Shoji?
equipment buyer's guide.
Yeah,
the
all
Shoji
right.
screen.
So we can grab the buyer's guide from
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
All right,
I'll
we'll
give
hook
you
you up with the buyer's guide.
Oh, you want to do that? Yeah,
wanna
stand
do
in
it
front of the chroma key.
Get in there.
Where do you want to go?
You're watching Life on Fire TV.
Where do you want to go?
Where do I?
Go to Paris?
No, not Paris. I'm not big into Paris. Let's go to Grand Canyon. Actually, what about surfing? Can you do surfing?
Yeah.
Can you
Awesome.
make that happen?
Yeah.
All right.
That's so great. There we go.
Can we get the both of us surfing? I feel like
We can do that.
Wow.
There you go.
Do a wheelie on a surfboard?
All right.
Sweet.
So that actually you can do the splish splash. Now over here, another set. So this is a library set. Again, we got some stuff in the way, but again, we could just do a shot here, a medium shot. Two of us could be standing in front, talking smart. We could have our little glasses here and so how's it going here? We're talking about some best-selling books and so on and so forth.
Highbrow. This is the highbrow section.
Good. And you know what? All that matters is what the camera sees.
Yeah.
Right? So, and these are some of the marketing books I've followed. Some of my mentors and heroes. I've got Joe Sugarman, one of my favorite guys, really good fellow. And,
So for an entrepreneur that's just getting started, someone that they know they don't like their job, or maybe they know that they want to be an entrepreneur, but they're trying to figure things out where to go. What's a book or two you recommend about getting rolling, getting started, or getting a mindset in check?
Let's see here. I'm a huge, Tony Robbins was one of my favorite guys, that got me going and saved my life, literally, I would say. And let's see, I'm gonna think about that a little bit because there's a lot of them and I could go deep psychology all the way to, simple stuff. I'll tell you one thing this is a great book right here. I love this one. This is from Nancy Duarte. It's called Resonate. It's present visual stories that transform audiences.
Sweet.
I believe storytelling is the most valuable skill you'll ever learn.
Wow.
And I talk about this in one of my recent videos, that we are all in show business. And when I say we're in show business, it means we need to show people we care. We need to show people that we're the authority and the expert, and we're willing and able to lead them. I mean, you're doing a great job of that. You need to show them that you are in the business of transforming lives. And I would say that we are all in the transformation business, right? So another book that I love is by Carmine Gallo. He wrote a book called How to Present, like Steve Jobs, the Presentation Secrets of Steve and Jobs, and the Innovation Secrets of Steve Jobs.
Sweet.
And it's, again, great psychology about how to think, because it's like anything. Why aren't you making more money? It's because you think wrong.
Yeah.
And
limiting beliefs and everything else.
totally. It's, this will sound maybe harsh at first, and I don't mean it in that way, which is poor people are poor because they think like poor people, and they spend their time with poor people.
Yeah.
And so Tony told me once, I was doing some work with him, and he said, if you take the 5 people you spend the most time with, and you add their income together and you divide it by 5, that's what you make. So environment and human environment makes all the difference, but it's how you think and how you allow other people to think and how you think in the context of the people you spend your time with that affects what you make and who you are.
Yeah. That's so key. Get your Tony on, and I love this book. Let me check out Resonate. And so about storytelling.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think of that as that's getting your message out there, and that's and it's connecting with the audience. And what's interesting is the more I study, storytelling and how to tell our story and how to connect, it's like that's where the emotional connection is, and then that's where the relationships are, and that's where sales happen. But what are some just tips about storytelling, or how would you look at?
Sure. Well, let's bounce to a new set, and we'll tell that. So why don't we come on over here, sit down in the digital cafe, and
do you guys have coffee here?
We do.
I could really go for a grand slam, maybe a couple
right around the corner.
Eggs over the hammy, or was it?
We could do it, yeah. So I'll tell you a story about storytelling, and it's something that I got to think of which one. So I'll tell you. I'm going to give you a choice, okay? So I can tell you a story of 11 words that put me in front of a Academy Award-winning celebrity. He said, "I need you," after these 11 words. That's a good story. I have another one about how I call it my $10 million mistake, how I fixed the problem in 30 days by mentoring a young person. And it all started here.
This is like a choose your own adventure book.
It is.
This thing is going to go either which way, but I'm going to go with option number 1.
Okay, so here's what happened. About a month and a half ago, it wasn't long ago, I was actually on my way to South by Southwest. Flying, and I'm sitting, and some guy walked up, and he was talking to a guy in front of me, and he goes, "You should see over to your right. Richard Dreyfuss is on the plane. He's sitting next to." It's kind of interesting, and we've got Wi-Fi on the plane, and I just, it was like, what the hell? And I saw, and it's like, it's him. So I look over, and so I texted my COO and I said, "Hey, it's kind of funny, but Richard Dreyfuss is on the plane." And he said, "Dude, I just sent you a link to a podcast you've got to hear. Richard Dreyfuss got interviewed, and he has this really cool thing." So he sent me the link, and I quick downloaded it and I listened to it. And it turned out I'd seen some interviews with him, and anyone who doesn't know Richard Dreyfuss, he starred in Jaws, he was in The Goodbye Girl, Mr. Holland's Opus, one of my all-time favorite movies, 50 films, feature films, and he was, for years, he beat Marlon Brando, but I think like by 177 or 200 days by being the youngest male Academy Award winner ever. Held that record, and it may still have it, I'm not sure, but very recently.
It's huge. It's great.
And I followed him for a while because he's a very, very vocal guy. Yeah. He's got big opinions, and he's dedicated his life now to something called the Dreyfuss Initiative. It's all about civic responsibility and media responsibility, and really just teaching what he calls civics. It's a big idea. And it turned out I'd been following, and I just kind of forgot about it. When I saw the podcast, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So while I was there, I did a little research, and it's like, it's a nonprofit. Turns out that my wife's got a nonprofit. I've raised almost $2 million for my companies for her over the past couple of years. I thought, you know what? I'm going to introduce myself to him. So as we're getting off the plane, I stood up. I walked up to him. I said, "Mr. Dreyfuss, my name is Mike Koenigs. I love what you're doing with the Dreyfuss Initiative. And I've got an 11-year-old son, and I've been teaching him the same values that you talk about. And I've also helped raise money for my wife's foundation." Followed by these 11 words. "I have an idea about how to raise money for your foundation." It's some variation on it. It might not have been the exact 11 words. I'm kind of messing it up now. There you go. That's the low part of the story. But so he stops. He turns to me and says, "Call me Rick. I need you."
That's crazy. And from like a networking perspective, it's like how many people come up to you and ask like, "Hey Mike, can you promote my stuff?" or "Hey Mike, can you do stuff?" And and how many times does he get hit up for things? And so if you pick apart what you did there, I mean, you went up to him and you, in your mind, as a phenomenal networker, you think, how can I add value to him?
How can I serve you?
How can I serve you?
Right.
And that is a huge adjustment that, most people make that mistake. They're coming in, taking and asking, and that's how can I serve you? And what happened from there?
Well, here's what happened. So it reminded me of a follow-on to this that would be really helpful. So he just said, "That sounds great," and we walked up the jetway, and I said, "Well, I'm transferring flights here," and he goes, "Well, I am too." I said, "Where are you heading?" He says, "I'm going to Austin." I go, "So am I." And we looked and we were like, "Oh, we're on the same flight, and we're only a seat apart from each other." So he said, well, let's sit down in the meantime and talk to me. So I sat down and I told him this big idea of You Everywhere Now. And I just said, what do you want to do? You know, what I see with the foundation. And again, the big 11 words are, I have an idea about how to grow your business. That's how you network with someone any other way when you're serving. But either way, make a long story short, we sat down, we sat next to together on the plane, because I just sat next to him, and the guy coming out, the stewardess just said, oh, your seat. I had a good seat, it was good. So anyway.
It wasn't Coach?
No. But 9 days later, he was sitting exactly where you are right now.
Way.
Actually, he was sitting here and I was sitting there, and I was interviewing him for his own podcast that I produced for him for his Dreyfus Initiative.
That's crazy.
So I basically said, look, you can be everywhere now. You can be on every screen, in every pocket, on every television, every device, anywhere, anytime, sharing your message and educating and teaching and training. And you can do it for kids, you can do it for adults, and that's how you can have a ton of impact. And you are one of the great, and he's an extraordinary storyteller. Yeah. So that's basically that story. And what it reminded me of was, what I carry around in my wallet is this is my 30-day manifestation, which is everywhere I go, and I look at this 5 to 7 times a day, which is serve 5,000 new customers, and it's about being deliberate. So everything I do, I think through the lens of how can I serve 5,000 new customers. So that makes me more efficient. I ask myself, am I going to be serving 5,000 with every interview, with every contact, with every communication, and at least from a business point of view. And when I'm not in business mode, then I'm not.
Decisions.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think, what's crazy about that is, I call it the anchor client strategy. It's, reaching out, and I think that those 11 words is a great addition to how we teach and talk about it. But it's going out to that influential person, and it's like when I got Frank Kern as a client, that changed my business, because people were like, I have no idea who Nick is, but they knew Frank. And in your case, so you, in an effort to add value, you create that podcast for him, just put it up.
Yeah. So the opportunity for him is to come into the studio here.
Yeah.
And produce the studio. So we did a friendly one here.
Okay.
And really, it was when he came here. All I offered, I said, look, I will hook you up and set you up with a way to capture a lot more leads to your foundation, because I said, how big's your list? I asked all the basic things. It's like, he's huge. That guy has been watched and viewed more times, but he has no list. Okay. And I've worked with, literally at this point in time in my career, tens of thousands of customers and hundreds of clients, many of which have been on Oprah. They've been on huge TV shows. They've had massive careers, and they are living paycheck to paycheck because they have no list. So how do you get your message out there? It's you create creative content, and when you are a nobody from nowhere, serve those who have a platform, who are visible, who you can support and have, and ask them those 11 questions, and they will gladly bring you into their world and lend you their fame and their credibility gladly. It's not painful. Yeah. Because you're providing them a huge service. Value. And we all have the ability to add massive value.
And I think, there's something that comes up right there is, the importance of having a list. I know that's not revolutionary content, but at the end of the day, I think what's cool about your system, and I think we should definitely get into some of the mechanics of how to be everywhere, but how you're capturing leads from all these different places. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's capturing that audience. Being all over TV and all over podcasts, that's cool. Yeah. But when you do it and you're capturing all those leads and you're building a tangible asset, that's the sweet spot.
Well, here's a way we can do it. What we'll do is let's go to another set and go through how do you grow your audience? How do you grow your list? How do you get to be known? How do you get connected with celebrities if that's what you want to do, or you have massive impact, and develop that all-important platform? Yeah. And maybe let's look around the corner. We'll poke in and look at what goes on behind the scenes, because how we make the shows is kind of interesting too.
I love it. Do that? I love it.
So over here, this is worth looking at before we go inside. These cameras here are computer controlled, they're robotic. So behind the scenes, we've got little joysticks that control them, and we've got 4 of these, so we use them at our live events.
You didn't print these, did you?
No, I did not print them, but we're not too far away. We are not too far away, so I'll poke my head in and make sure. Hold on, just for a second, put your heads in. Okay. So this is, everyone's producing content for our launch right now. this is the studio, and right down here, this is how the cameras get controlled. So you can see I'm able to pan. I can zoom in, okay, and zoom in and out and control them, okay. So this is what Sean and Melissa do when we're producing shows, and we're also able to switch our programs live. So here you can see I can switch between, let's say, an Apple TV or any other device. Let's see, I got to go to camera 1, that would be that one there. So I can switch between a computer or a TV or whatever I want, okay? But it's magical stuff, but this is how we produce our live shows and edit. Okay,
Nice.
we'll leave them alone so they can get more done. And I'll make sure I've got my my books to demonstrate something. Ah, here they are. Okay, so let's go behind the big set, and I can give you. So this is I've been calling it the ESPN or the CNN set,
Okay.
and this is where I'd have sometimes if I want to brand someone, like for
Yeah.
you, but blue might be a good color. But
Yeah.
what are your colors, for example?
Yeah, we're like this almost exact
Oh,
baby
okay.
blue and black. Yeah.
A trust color. So
Yeah.
that's why we've got the trust color. But if we wanted to, if we were doing an interview right now, we could do green as our background. So I may actually, and we could do a money show. You see how
That's
cool that
crazy.
is? So we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
toggle between it, but program it. And then with these monitors here, we can stand in front and go through
Yeah.
slideshows or whatever. But we'll go back to the trust color here, the blue color.